Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome to Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome.
One of the things I want to tell you, brought to you by Dispose. This is a great garbage company that I'd love for you to find out by going to my website and see what we can do for you. Not just for the fact that I'm advertising, not for the fact that I'm part owner, not for the fact that I'm going to make sure customer service happens. It's for the fact that I need you. Come check me out.
Come check you out.
See what I can do for you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes,
Dispose,
sir.
LLC.
LLC.
Now, I gotta get back to the person who's been
That's
rocking
right,
with me
me.
since I've been on the air. Craftmatic, how you doing, big baby?
I'm doing lovely, man. Everything is good.
I'm kind of
Everything's
jealous
good.
because you're still shining, bruh.
Well, you know, I'm gonna shine, baby.
That's what I talk about, that's my boy.
It's the season for shining, right?
And now, we got that person that's acting like he gonna be nice, but bet not be nice because he is Buddha. Buddha don't know how to do nothing but what he do. Big Phil, how you doing, big baby?
You know how it is, Jay. Slow motion.
Oh,
Slow
just
motion.
slow motion.
Slow motion.
Yeah, he's sweating already.
You better
man.
speed it up tonight. Ain't nothing slow tonight.
Slow motion.
Jay gonna have a problem with your slow self, okay?
Slow
That short
motion,
bus
baby.
that you used to get off of, to get that and act like you was on the regular bus, okay?
Why you got to tell people my business?
Because you used to spit on folks.
Yeah,
You
but
know
they
you used to wear a
nobody.
helmet.
What?
Yeah,
You
they
didn't know
nobody.
about Phil?
Look, first of all, why you gotta put my business all out on the street?
Because that's what I
like
do.
that?
I
Hey,
stir it up
listen,
and I put it
Before
down.
y'all
Real-
get going too far,
Why?
y'all just hold
Real-
up and
Why?
let us give ourselves a proper introduction.
That would be nice.
Just,
This
hey,
is
okay, I
this
did
is-
have a helmet, but you licked on the window.
You 6'9"?
Stop it.
I'm just saying, you started it.
It had a licorice. I thought it was.
Hey, y'all have to excuse my company. This is Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. This is Dr. Phil, better known as Buddha in the house. And we want to thank you folks for being here. Just an opportunity for us to get together, dialogue about real life, real subjects. And what's interesting about what we do is as we talk through a subject, there's a lot of emotions that are moving around. And we hope that you participate in this show enough to be able to feel some of these situations and circumstances that we're talking about and really get into the subject, really dive into the material as we go through it tonight because every time something fantastic happens in the discussion, we all have some great awakening. And we found that that's what discussions do. They bring you to the surface of something good. And so we're glad to have you with us tonight. We usually start the show off with a prayer, and I didn't know, Jay, if you want to do that for us.
Well, no. I had that look like I was gonna do it, right?
Yeah. I'm in the balance like, okay, I'm off the hook. But nah, go ahead.
Nah.
Go ahead.
Nope.
You
Okay.
always on the hood, man.
Okay, give me a one-word subject, please.
Go ahead, Deacon Crowd.
One word for you tonight. Let's go with healing.
What?
We want healing.
Healing. Okay. Ooh,
We
I
want
like
the
that, Jay.
power of the healing.
Yes.
You gonna pray about healing, but we talking about the 7 deadly sins.
I mean,
Oh,
you
okay.
need
All
I
right,
think
I'm
they go
just
quite
checking.
well
I
together.
mean,
I'm just, hey,
okay,
I
you want
mean,
one? You want one?
I mean, I'm just saying.
That's why
I
you
mean,
wore a helmet.
Oh, okay.
I think
You licked the glass.
I know.
I think they go quite well together, right?
Okay,
All right, let's see what
We'll add balance
what the Lord has
to
to
the
say here.
equation.
Heavenly Father, we come into your presence right now just thanking you for everything that you do in our lives. We thank you for your loving company, just being with us and hearing from us each and every day. And we know that relationship is a part of our healing. We specifically ask for perfect healing and perfect health, perfect function, and perfect order in our bodies and in our minds tonight. We want our entire experience to be perfection, Lord. Wholeness, completeness, love, joy, peace. Annihilate anything unlike perfect health in our bodies. Let us see clearly. Let us feel health. Let us be healthy in love. Let us be healthy in our bodies. Let us be healthy in our world. Let us be healthy in our perspective on life. Give us a greater understanding of healing and health right now, here and now. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I had another 12 sentences I wanted to add on right there.
Yeah, I was wondering you gonna throw Phil in there.
Yeah. Man, you gotta try to. You know what?
You already
man,
have.
I was reading this book this week, and that's what's kind of going through my mind when I pray now. Is that when you pray, it's it's kind of like digging. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's
right.
kind of like you got to pull all the bad stuff away, and you got to reach for the very thing that you desire. You know, and as you start to reach for it, you want to call a thing a thing. I want perfect healing in my hand. I want perfect healing in my body. I want perfect healing in my hearing. I want perfect healing in my memory recall. I want perfect healing in my thoughts. I want perfect healing in my past. You know, you got to call for the thing for which you are desiring healing for, you know? And when you intertwine those two in the word, man, I promise you it'll manifest. What we did tonight is just going to be awestruck, you know? I just believe that the Lord hears the word and he responds immediately, right? That's why we need to pray more. When we're in any situation, go straight to prayer, because prayer will bring about the healing right away. Nothing else is going to bring about healing. Worrying, calling your family members, whatever. If you're not leaning on prayer, you're not leaning on, you know, God's infinite power of action that can be revealed in your life. Like, we should be producing miracles in our lives just like that every single day. Every single time something have a need in our life, we just speak it forth and it just appears in our life over and over and over. This is the way mankind was supposed to live life.
Yes,
right? But we've been taken off by so many challenging and dark things. And we're going to actually talk about those things tonight. Some of the 7 deadly sins. I think if we were to put all the 7 deadly sins together, it would probably rob mankind of 90% of its potential. If you really take a look at it, I think it would be a huge portion of man's life wallowing in gluttony and lust and envy and wrath and all those things. As much as he does it, it's working against it over and over. It's digging graves. He's walking in cemeteries, you know, because he keeps standing in darkness in his life, and he keeps doing things that are against the laws of manifestation, the laws of God's way and path. So let me get off the track, man. I'm going in. Yeah, but that's real stuff, right?
I mean, dude, when you was talking about digging, I was like thinking you was in a graveyard. I was about to say, you buried somebody?
Turn the mic over.
Yeah, you're going deep. You're going all into the earth. Go for it, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But healing is definitely within you, and I love the fact that you got that soul power.
Yeah, but you know what's more intriguing, Jay, and we're gonna move on. But like when I'm praying and when I'm talking about this stuff, man, it's not me.
Who is it?
I don't know. It's God, man. It's God just moving His word through me, you know. Because I don't even remember half the stuff I say, but I know that it's always making sense. I'm knowing that it's always powerful. You know what I'm saying? I'm knowing.
But you ain't on no meds.
Huh? No.
You no meds, right?
No, I ain't on no meds.
You ain't been diagnosed with nothing.
Man, listen.
I mean, because I ain't never asked.
Anybody living in crying, you gotta ask me their own
He said when you
business.
free, it ain't happening.
Just want to make sure you ain't bipolar. Now, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I just got a question. You say when you're praying, it ain't
potential
you.
enough. I'm sorry?
I just got a question. You say when you're praying, it's not you. Who is it then?
No, it's like the greater me. It's like the greater spirit of me. It's like the big spirit of me calling forth to the greater spirit to heal this part of my body.
So it's you.
Well, you're not really gathering where I'm coming from.
No,
what I'm
I'm
saying
just
is the
listening to
Lord
what
is
you're
speaking
saying.
through me a lot of times when I'm delivering my messages.
Buddha.
That was the message.
He said it's him, but it's that higher power. It's that
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah.
That's not
You
what
know.
he said.
Yes,
Buddha, that's what it was.
that's what it
That's what
was.
it is. Buddha.
That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Focus.
I'm not really sure where you want to go with that, man.
I'm
You
just
don't
saying.
want to
know.
I'm just saying. You
He ain't
said
got them all.
when you pray, it ain't you. I just want to know
Yeah.
who it is.
It's
No, it
like
ain't
it's
you.
like my conscious mind lets go, and my
I know that
subconscious
mean, 'cause I
mind
ain't
speaks.
praying.
Why you want to pray, Buddha?
Do
He
you
said
pray?
he was praying. I didn't say when I pray, it's not me. When I pray, it's me.
Oh, it is you?
It's already
So
started.
you do
folks.
pray?
I'm just saying.
That's already
when I
started.
pray, I get on my knees and it's me.
It's just
I
all-
talk to God. Sometimes he answers, sometimes he don't. But when I pray, it's me.
But when he talk back to you, do you really hear him?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just ignore him.
Oh, so you really don't pay attention.
Sometimes I don't.
And you wonder why you wore that helmet. You was protecting others.
Just like you was licking the glass.
Telling on yourself
Because I was
tonight.
right next to your
No.
Things need to stop. Feel?
Sometimes they do.
That's why we
Sometimes
put
they don't.
aluminum foil over your helmet.
Probably somebody in our audience who identifies with feels like
Thank
this,
you.
and so
Maybe not.
we respect those as well.
We tried to.
Let's quickly cover last week's topics. Last week's topic was the first half of this week's segment, which is the 7 deadly sins. And I think we did a fabulous job, once again, of just diagnosing some of the pitfalls. You know, when you look at the whole picture of this discussion, we're trying to figure out what's keeping us from potentially being our greatest possibility, what's holding us back in life. And what the good book would say is that if we have wrong behavior, then we're going to experience, bad stuff, right? If we're out of alignment with truth or out of alignment with righteousness, then there's a price to pay for that. And some of those key points. Obviously, the 4 things that we talked about last week. We talked about lust. We talked about envy. We talked about greed, and we spoke about sloth. And those 4 are heavy.
Man, Les went a very nice way, but y'all took greed to a whole nother level.
Why you say that, Jay?
Greed was looked at so differently between you two that I just let y'all have it. Phil over here, that obviously he's been struck with the corporate America, and he felt like that is the standard of greed, how America was founded. And then you came back and said, but 75% is small businesses, and they working hard. And Phil said working hard to be greedy because with the big corporations. Now again, I can't tell you what side you might want to look, because truthfully I believe both of y'all have great points. When it comes to greed, I hate to say it, but again, we stole to get, and then we didn't repay. So it makes it easy for you to be on top. And then you got small people trying to get in position to be in a better position. So you really working towards, unfortunately, the greed side. But it's still a work ethic. Some of them didn't have to work for it. It was handed down. So again, that's why I want people to align and understand where it was and where you can be. So that greed is not necessarily have to be. It's a choice.
It's a choice. Yes.
And that's what I loved about it, is because how y'all define it made people really look into what they're trying to do. Because a lot of people want to be a boss because they don't want to work. It don't really work like that.
No,
it's a whole lot of work behind all that. And that's why a lot of them look like they're greedy. But they put so much in and they get great returns. That's your work effort. It's up to you. And I like to say, a lot of people don't have a good work ethics at all. Their work ethics suck. They believe in do very little, and I watch TV and I can get a lot. And I don't understand why they still looking at that when it's not manifesting. It's not happening. But they keep saying, oh, it's going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen. But you put no work in to make it happen.
Right.
I know,
Right.
but it's going to. So you praying over what? Because no work is being applied. That's where the confusion comes from. And
Get
then the
something for
lust.
nothing, something for nothing.
And then the lust. Oh my goodness. That one right there is a key thing that I didn't think it was going to go the way it did, but I loved it. Because again, a lot of people don't want to look at it, and they just want to accept it and say it's a balance. Don't worry about it. But my whole thing is you got to really look at it, because lust is going more over than just looking and then going back to your day to day. Lusting is when you continuously look and you're imagining and you're going in your mind
Right.
to this is all the things I want to do. Now, see, you took it way past a regular stage of she showing on the camera toe, and you automatically thinking that way. You want to be that way, and that's what that was written to control your thoughts, not to let your thoughts just run rampant and wild. To look at a person and think that I can just look at them and be basically having sex in my mind. You are lusting at that point. You are not, and some people feel like, well, I'm not touching them, so it shouldn't matter. Well, look at your whole thought and your demeanor. So when you're doing this, you're starting to show disrespect towards the person. Because you're staring hard, dreaming big, and ain't achieving nothing. You wasting time.
You know what's so difficult about that we'll call it sin, sin in the Bible, or sin as we relabeled it, off the mark, is that if I was asking God for a list, here's the top 10 things that people will lose, blessings that they will lose. because they lust. You know, you can't. It's hard to hold people accountable for it. People got to see the value in it. You know, they like, people don't understand the power of thought. You know, and if you're, you know, if you've come under religion or Christianity or and Jesus, you would, you know, he's telling you don't do it. He's telling you don't do it. But the people who don't have those belief systems do it and don't understand the ramifications of it, right? And there are repercussions for it, but we oftentimes can't show people what the repercussions are. You know, we just kind of telling them, and they gotta kind of just trust. But you know, if they knew that they, you know, every time they did it, they would lose 100 days of life. You know, they wake up. You see what I mean? They would wake up and be like, oh, I better not do that. You know, I need to keep them 100 days. Hopefully, Feels looking a little crazy, like.
Little?
Yeah.
You gotta get the helmet.
What's that thought process, Phil?
If you read the Bible, it shows that they knew that they would lose life, but due to the fact of the human mind and the human desire for lust, greed, sloth, wrath, they didn't care. That's why we don't live as long as we do now.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Okay.
So
That's exactly right.
I totally disagree in regards to that.
Okay.
I didn't
Like
disagree with
you.
you. Yeah.
Why you something after you took that helmet off?
That's an excellent point.
He did.
That's an excellent point.
And we still do it to this day.
Yeah, we do,
That's
but we
what we
still
talking
don't fully understand the ramifications of it. And we just may not know the
No,
ramifications until
we do.
until we cross over.
No,
You
it's
know?
just like listening
What
to your
are those?
parents.
That's what I'm trying to do.
It's just like listening to your parent. Your parents say, hey, there's cookies in there. You can't have no cookies until after dinner. Mama go upstairs, I'm getting me some cookies.
Okay.
Then mama find out, you get a whooping, but guess what? You got your cookies.
Because you wanted them anyway.
Exactly.
It's
You
your
ain't care about the consequences. You already knew the consequences. But due to the fact of your desire, you was like, you know something? I'm going to take the consequences. Because it's what I want.
So
And people live like that every single
Let me
day.
put it. That's excellent, man. I love to hear that. That's real.
It's the truth.
Let me
I'll tell you
see if
what
I can
God-
paraphrase it. You're saying people are just okay with getting the ass whooping so they can get what they want?
Why do you think we got so many prisons?
Well, I think a lot of those people, but you know, there's some people who calculate.
No,
Some
no,
people made some-
no,
some-
no,
They was
no,
sick. They was,
no,
you know,
no,
bad thoughts. They
no,
was, you know, wrong people.
no,
you know what I'm saying? Some of them were
no,
straight killers. You know.
no,
Some of them were
no.
straight killers.
It's because I want to do what I want to do, and I don't care about the ramifications. You already know you're going to go to prison if you rob somebody. But guess what? Because I want to rob somebody, and I don't think I'm going to get caught, I'm going to do it because that's the desire that I have.
Mm-hmm. And so your desires are controlling you. Perhaps
No, your desires are driving you.
controlling you, driving
No.
you.
No.
Yeah, they're controlling you, driving you. They're driving.
No,
you. Okay,
no.
we'll use your words.
Control
It's the same
and
thing,
drive.
Right.
Control and drive is two totally different things.
right?
Okay, define.
Go ahead, please. You're arguing with yourself now. Go ahead.
No. I'm just making a point.
Go ahead,
Okay,
please.
what's your point?
I can control myself when I want to. However, if I have a desire that drives me, I let control go and I deal with that desire,
So,
which is lust.
so now it's out of control.
No, it's not out of control.
Well,
I just make the choice because
Not to
I already
control.
know what I want to do.
You telling us
And
something.
and it's just like you manifest what you want. You see a woman over there, you get a little eye contact. You like, okay, you know, she checked me out, I checked her out. So now you go down and you sit next to her just to see what happens. You don't say anything to her. She don't say anything to you. You make a little eye contact, and then she starts talking. So therefore, you have, just like you said, manifested what you want. However, you let her come to you. Still doesn't mean that your lust didn't drive you to that point.
Now.
Going somewhere. Okay.
Oh.
Listen, I love the way you think, man. You think you really got a different way of thinking, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And it's just about time for us to take another break, and we're gonna take care of a quick thing and then get out of here. We are so glad that you folks are with us tonight. I think we're talking about a subject that we all could benefit from, a subject that we don't very rarely have much dialogue about. And so, we hope that this is adding some value. I love the way that we talk about it, because the way that we talk about it is kind of, it kind of just reminds us of what we need to do and what's working for us, what's not working for us, what should we be doing. And I just love the dialogue, and I love the discussion. So we're going to go ahead and take our first break. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome back with Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome back.
If y'all didn't hear that first half, y'all about to find out this is gonna be a very interesting show tonight.
Yeah.
I woke up Buddha, and Buddha shook Phil. And Phil responded back with some other stuff to Buddha, and he gave it to my man Kraft. Well, we don't know who all in the building. They asking questions, they doing things. We gotta define who all in the house tonight.
And he had the nerve to ask me if I was talking to myself.
I said he do it all the time.
You said when you pray,
Stop it, man. We already went
it
there.
don't be you. I just want to know who it was. You got demons? I'm just saying.
It's a spiritual experience, man.
Oh, okay.
I hope that you would know.
But we kind of do. But remember now, he was that one on the back of
Mhm.
that bus.
Yeah.
You licked the glass.
Because I sat next to you. I was tired of you.
Really?
You were special too.
Can we get back to the program?
I was
Seriously?
trying to. Okay, let's
Really?
get back. Back to what they need to hear, not what your therapist said to you.
I talked to yours first.
Okay.
Who cares?
I'm just saying.
After you done,
You
we
said
quit.
therapist. I mean, you wanted to bring it up. So
man. Go ahead.
I mean,
You want what you want to do? Go ahead. You want to talk about that?
I mean, he's just 6'9" over here. I mean, he got nothing else to do.
you started it first.
Man, you gonna be on that prison bus.
You'll be right next to me.
That was something about lust, man. We got all kind of chaos going on here tonight. That's what I like about the show is it's original. It's live and original.
Ain't crazy.
One of the key points that came out of last week's show, and it's kind of evident from the subject itself, which is lust, is that fellas, we really got to do some inner work. It's important that if you're looking at a woman, you should be looking at women with somewhat of a pure state of mind. Now, I know oftentimes they present themselves in ways that make our minds go other places, but the good word says, as surely as you walk down that alleyway, you will come to a dead end. And lust is...
Try tapping above to edit.
I didn't get that, Jay.
I didn't get that either. As sure as you walk down that alleyway, you're going to find that, it's just not worth it, man. That's a young man's mind. We've all been down that road. We've all had those days, but I just encourage you to think maybe a little more mature. And, I oftentimes ask myself, how can any person be looking for a good woman and all he thinks about of women as they're bad? And you think
Maybe
about all
he's
of
not
them. There's a lot of
looking for a
guys
good
who
one.
think that way. I'm sorry?
Maybe he's not looking for a good one.
What's
Trying to be argumentative again, man.
No, I'm just saying.
Just saying, teach the people something, man.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you what God loves, and that's the truth. Okay, so maybe he's not looking for a good woman. Maybe he just wants somebody to hit to pass the time and let her know this is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. There's nothing wrong with that because you're being honest about what you want. It's real simple. And if she agreed to ride with that ride, she a grown woman. She made the decision to ride with it.
Which one of these?
And women always say, hey, don't take my choice away
we
from
gotta get in the
me.
box here a little bit. Watch this. Listen, which one of these 7 deadly sins was what Phil just described?
I think that was over lust.
Was that lust? Okay. Okay.
Hell, probably.
Is that
Gluttony.
that's,
That was good.
That was gluttony.
so you are suggesting
Him was greedy.
that was lustful and greedy.
You did nasty, man. Yeah, you nasty.
Hey,
I don't think
at
nasty
least he was honest.
I don't think nasty one of the 7 deadly sins, but that was nasty.
I think he can cover it.
Well, you can probably put nasty in lust.
Yeah, you can probably put nasty in
Yeah,
there.
it's in there. It's in there.
Yeah, nasty is definitely
It's in
lust. That's a great point to make.
If Buddha said it,
Buddha.
it's in there.
It's in there.
Yeah. So
Where we going? That right.
man, I keep
Let me
putting
tell
up the
you
pieces.
something. It's hard to pick up after y'all, really. But I'm gonna tell you, when you really want to look at it, Phil, and you look at when you were talking about it the way you are, that you don't really want a good woman, and you're just looking for a smash.
Right.
We want to encourage you, like you said earlier, and it probably was missed. I'm trying to be more truthful. So again, if you're talking to somebody and you're being honest and y'all have that communication, then it's a clear understanding. When you take that and you manipulate, giving a person a false thought or hope that it could be way more than that, that's where we starting to step on a lot of toes and emotions where it comes back on us. You can be honest, but you can still be honest and give false intent. Because again, if I say one thing and then I'm cuddling and I'm doing things to make a person feel like I'm in a relationship or want a relationship even though I'm saying something different, they're going to go off of what they really wanted in the first place because they had their own desire before you ever spoke anything out your mouth. Now, you said what you wanted. It didn't really fit what she wanted, but then you showing her some things that she really wants. So guess what? She's going to go for it. And that's where a lot of people feel like, you know something, you still led me. You played me. And you was like, no, I was just honest with you, but yet you let me stay the night.
She
let
gotta
me
leave
cuddle.
at 6 in the morning.
But she came at 11 o'clock at night.
No, she came at
That's
3.
7. That's 7.
No,
That's
she
7
came at 3.
hours. She came at
No,
3.
she came at 3.
And she left at 6.
Yeah.
Oh, those are good hours.
Hey,
But
Man,
did she have to get up in the middle of the sleep?
listen,
Or
here's
right
what I
after?
want to do. What I always like to
You gotta
do
go. You can't stay here.
is I want to try to separate
Okay.
worldly from spiritual.
Okay, but this
Okay.
straight worldly right here.
I know. That's why I bring it up. Because it's straight, all of it. And that's what we're trying. I'm hoping that what we are attempting to do is to try to help people become better people.
So let me ask you
Right.
a question.
That's better.
Right.
That's how you do it.
So,
Do you think the 7 deadly sins are worldly or spiritual?
they are spiritual. They are
Worldly.
they are a misuse
No.
of the spirit. Yes,
They're
it is.
worldly.
Absolutely. It is a misuse
That's why
of
they
the spirit.
are the
Absolutely.
7 deadly sins, because they are worldly sins.
Listen, they are worldly sins, but the world is sin, right? What they are it's kind of like you're casting darkness in the heavens, and you're putting dark spiritual things into worldly things. See, the power that you use when you imagine is spiritual power. Right? And you might say, well, that's worldly power. No, because you're thinking about things that you've never experienced, you've never seen it. It's spiritual, right? And some of your, it's spiritual. And so now if I taint the spirit, that's what God is trying to say to us is, stop tainting the spirit. I gave you the spirit to appreciate a woman, not to destroy her with your mentality, not to destroy her with your lust and with your lustful, greedy thoughts. I don't want you looking at a girl or a woman in a way that brings her down. And that's what I'm hoping this whole discussion brings us to, is that we have to find a way to hold ourselves more accountable or to a higher level of standard about looking at people in general, but particularly women.
Yeah, but that's
And
not
that's
true.
what that because that amount of lust. See, I said
That's-
earlier, we if God would just give me a list of things that happen when people lust, I'd be able to say, here it is,
That's not
and
realistic.
if you do this, this is what's gonna happen.
That's not realistic.
What's real?
It's not realistic, but perhaps
I mean,
not
it's a
realistic.
good thought.
Perhaps it's not realistic. It's
No, it's not
certainly our
realistic,
reality
because
we're facing consequences.
Because if
every
it
day.
was realistic,
Mhm.
we wouldn't be talking about them right now. If it was realistic.
Mm.
The 7 deadly sins are brung so we can work on these sins, because when everything was unveiled in the beginning, that's when we became worldly. So therefore, you always have to work. Always. Because other than that, you just gonna end up in prison or in the grave. Simple as that. Because everything that you do, you have to work at it. The 7 deadly sins, you have to work at it. Because every day you wake up, they're embodied in you. Because you were born into sin.
Alrighty. Thank you, Dr. Phil. Great analogy about what we was born into and we have to deal with.
yeah,
But
and
again,
that's a great
Great point,
point.
yeah,
a great point.
and that's why we deal with it. That's
to
why we're
take
talking
us
about
in
it.
a little bit of a different direction. So yeah, the knowledge is that we are born into this sin. We're born with this sin. It's in our blood. It's in our veins. It's in the way our thinking. It's in a generational set of attitudes and behaviors and philosophies, etc. That
Generational
lives generations. Generational curses, perhaps, right?
7 of them.
Now that
Like
we
the
know
7
that they are
archangels.
there, what do we do? Now that we know that they are in us
Mhm.
and they are operating through us, what do we do? How do we hold back? How do we keep them from keeping us in prison? How do we keep them from causing us to cheat on the person that we supposedly love? How do we keep them from allowing us to misuse our resources because of appearance? You
In
know?
this day and age, it's hard to.
It is,
It
but
is.
knowledge is power. One of the things that can help you is by the fact that we can sit down and have a dialogue. Even though we might joke and play, please don't let the laughter fool you. We're trying to have a dialogue because how it plagues you is going to be up to you. But if we can give it to you in a different way, you might be able to see yourself in a way that you can be like, something, this might be healthy for me. I don't know what all you go through. But if we can have this conversation and you can sit down and you can laugh about it like we try to, but the bottom line, you have to deal with it. You was born into it, but you don't have to die with it. That was a sin you might have been cursed with, but you don't got to stay with it. You can start controlling it by understanding it. And if you don't know your ways, that's why we're trying to give these different ways right now, because you might not understand your own behavior.
You may not understand your own behavior.
Without
Yes.
recognizing what you do, you will not change what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody say.
Absolutely.
Because I know for a fact, until the things was pointed out, I kept acting out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just normally how it goes. So we are having a dialogue
That's
right now
powerful, Jay.
at a round table to see if we can bring you to a point where you might look at what you do. When somebody keep telling you you ain't listening, it's a reason why. I'm tired of hearing what she's saying. But are you trying to do anything with what she say, or are you just tired of her? But you ain't trying to change, but y'all situation ain't changing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it makes us all go like what we call crazy. And I like to say I ran into some people that I deem crazy. I really don't feel like they was medically crazy. But again, they went through a lot of stuff.
They were.
And when they ran into me, I just took them over the top. Now, going over the top, one of the things I want to tell you, I wasn't trying to hurt. It's just I'm a different type of person. And it can make you look at me totally different.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
a problem. But
Yeah.
it wasn't meant to be
Yeah.
for me to hurt anyone, because that's not what my mission in life is all about at all.
Yeah.
But you have to be more understanding, because one, I don't care to hear about who you was with. I don't want to know what all he did. I'm not him. Me hearing that, I'm not gonna try to act like him. I am me.
Right.
Now where he was his business. Where I'm going is me and God's
There
business.
you go. There you go. Listen, let me just formulate a set of ideas here for a second, right? So I asked the question, these sins are born in us, and we're getting ready to take a break. These sins are born in us, and now that we know they're there, how do we keep them from destroying us and destroying our lives, right? And Jay took the table and he started talking, and what came to mind, what Jay was basically saying is the first thing we need to do is take some grandeur, constructive criticism from the world. Like, one of the best ways to look at yourself is to see what the people around you, the people who you care about and love you and respect you, what would they say about you as it relates to these 7 deadly sins? And because they know some of your ways and your stories, and they'll heard, what would they say about you? And then, and you don't have to ever ask them the question, but if you begin to anticipate their answers to those questions, some of us might say, well, yeah, I might was greedy in that scenario. Maybe I am a little lustful. They say I'm chasing every woman. They say, hey, every time I see you chasing a bunch of women, right? I might be engaged in lust. And that didn't come from me. That came from the information from the people around me.
So I snitched on myself.
Well,
So-
perhaps, right?
So-
It's just a way to take a look at yourself as it relates to these. Go ahead. I think we're gonna have to go in just a minute. Well, please go ahead.
How do you deal with the 7 deadly sins?
Well, here's the thing, and that's what I'm
For
getting
you,
to.
to you.
That's what
How
I'm
do
getting
you deal with the 7 deadly sins?
I mean, I'll tell you how I deal with it. I need some time to dive into that because I got a methodology,
Okay.
right? That works. It works.
Okay.
The greatest methodology I can know of, and you probably already know the answer, right?
We'll see.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take us another break.
Sound like it's about to be a fight.
You always want to confrontate with
That's
me,
what I'm
man.
talking
You
about.
never have no agreement.
It's
Damn,
just
man.
a general question.
all
Oh,
I
man,
gotta
let's go
say-
back to the innocent now,
It's
man.
a
You,
simple-
All I got to say is
just
I
asked the
I
question.
stirred them up earlier.
yeah.
It
Just
started
ask
to
the
work.
question.
I'm trying to find agreement with this man.
Ain't no-
He
ain't no
ain't gonna
agreement.
let me.
I
It's
just
Buddha.
asked the question.
No, ain't.
Oh, okay.
I just asked a
It's just
simple
not me,
question.
right?
It ain't you.
Oh, okay.
I just asked a
That's
simple
why I
question.
broke them. I knew it wasn't you.
I just asked a
Oh.
simple question.
Okay.
The question is simple.
I want y'all to stay tuned. We're gonna be right back with more Bar Talk with you.
With Bar Talk with Jay.
Back.
Man, bro, before we went on break, you look like y'all two was about to have some words about this right here. We got to get
Nah.
back to this.
I mean, we dialogue it up pretty deep, but
This is really one of the things I want to tell you. I don't know where y'all at. This conversation can go anywhere it want to, but I wanted to settle in your soul because one of the things we having a problem with is we are worldly. We trying to tap into our spirituality, and sometimes we having problems doing it.
yes,
So I like to have a dialogue where we can start looking at our behavior compared to where we're going.
right.
So again, as we might joke and play, please understand where you're at, and then you can get your own formula on how you can fix yourself.
Exactly.
This right here is no means but to open you up to realize what your fullest potential could be. That's what we do.
That's what we.
So gentlemen, will y'all about to go at it about it? I'm
No.
just curious.
It's just a
Well,
simple question
what's
that I
question?
asked. Just
you asking me?
It was.
Okay. Oh,
What's
no,
question?
us. Okay, please.
Yeah, good question.
Well, I'm listening.
you don't remember the question.
No.
No, this second half.
To you,
Okay.
how do you deal with the 7 deadly sins?
Excellent question, my friend. Excellent question.
You want me to go first?
And
Yeah, okay, I'll go first. I'm gonna be the ignorant one. I ain't like they ain't there. Okay, I'll be like hell with them, man. You said it, but I'm act like they hell no, cause I like lust. I like a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I like eating a lot. It tastes good. I like it. I'm gonna keep on doing it, and I like sex, and I like a lot of stuff. So I push you to the side, and I be like, if I monitor it, you know you wrong. If I monitor it,
Right.
knowing you just wrong is all get out,
Right.
it'll be all right. Okay, and that was my ignorant way of dealing with it. Now I hope that wasn't you, but if it was, we there.
We thought that was you.
Well, it's still somebody.
Okay.
It's just I ain't gonna tell completely on myself because
Okay,
I'm a work in progress.
we hear it.
I mean, but since y'all more holier, then let y'all handle this. Be quiet.
Okay. Chirp, cricket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stick it to it.
If you've ever taken time to read through Proverbs,
Mhm.
just read it. I promise you, you'll feel convicted. I promise you, the words are so powerful, and you're like, whoa, because it's telling you in plain black and white that if you do this, death is coming. And when I look at those words, I know they come from thousands of years of experience, human experience. You can't neglect that. You can't just turn away like that knowledge isn't the most valuable knowledge that there is in the face of the universe for us.
Mhm.
And what it's attempting to do, it's attempting to manage our behavior along a path of righteousness. Righteousness in our desires for material stuff, equaling greed. Okay, when we look at lust, righteousness in how we look at people and how we look at women and how we treat sex and how we treat other people. You think about and with all of these subjects, So we gotta hold ourselves to a standard that will provide and produce life. And I think what God is trying to tell us is that all of these things steal life. They are, they arrive at death. They arrive at destruction.
Okay.
And if you don't pay attention to that, you're going to keep going down. Here's the path for you. You're going to keep going down all of these other little paths in life, and all of them are going to take a little life out of you, maybe a lot of life out of you. And next thing, you end up spinning your wheels at 60 and 70 years old, and you still ain't found love, and you still ain't found yourself, and you still buying $500 sweaters, struggling to pay your electricity, because you're trying to be what the world wants you to be. He's trying to tell you that we got to hold back. All of these 7 deadly sins describe excessive behavior.
Okay. So
Excessive behavior is what every seven deadly sin has in common. And we got to learn to control ourselves in the flesh,
okay.
right? But it's hard to control yourself in the flesh if you don't control yourself in the spirit, which is your thinking.
Mhm.
Your body's just not going to do. Your body's doing what your mind says do.
Can I interject for a moment?
Please go ahead.
You gonna answer the question?
I did. It's Proverbs. I feel convicted. I get conviction out of studying the Word of God. And the Word of God keeps me straight, and He keeps me lifted, and He keeps me moving. I answered the question as thoroughly as it could possibly be answered, man. Why are you trying? Why you doing
I
that?
just wanted a straightforward answer.
There it was.
He
There it
gave it to you,
was.
Proverbs.
There it was.
He told you where you can look it up. Proverbs.
That's your answer.
That is my answer. And as far as I know, that is the answer. There's nothing else that holds me more accountable to life than the Word of God. And,
Okay,
it took me a long time to really dive in it enough to slow down. Like, whoa.
No all be all.
God, He told me, I could look over my shoulder and I could see, He told me that if I went down that alleyway, that something bad was going to happen. He told me, clearly.
Okay,
I already
so-
knew it. I didn't have to figure it out. He told me in the Word.
Let
If
me
I had
ask you a
listened to
question.
it, it would have
So
saved some life, basically.
your answer to how to deal with the 7 deadly sins is Proverbs.
Yeah.
You don't think that the correct answer or the correct answer is accepting the 7 deadly sins?
I see you trying to be combative. You asked me.
No.
what I do.
I'm
You
just
asked me
no.
what I do. Now you're making an argument.
No, it's
I
not
mean,
an
that's your-
argument.
that's your
It's
opinion.
just in its simplest
Everybody
form.
can hear what's going on here.
So you feel that would be a better answer.
Right.
The only way that
That's your
I
answer.
feel
Right.
that you can deal with the 7 deadly sins is acceptance.
Okay.
You have to accept the 7 deadly sins.
As sins.
How can you deal with the 7 deadly sins if you don't accept them?
Now what you
How
just
can you
did.
deal with God if you don't accept
Now
them?
what you just did is you
I'm just-
kind of threw what Jay was saying.
No,
you threw him
no.
under the bus.
What?
No, I didn't throw him under
no,
the
he
bus.
didn't. But he called me out because one of the things
Called
I
him
know.
out.
One
No,
of the
I ain't
things I
calling
would
out.
tell you about calling out and understanding is if you don't recognize it, you run from it.
You run from it.
So if I heard about it and I'm not facing it and I'm not looking at it and I don't incorporate it in my way of thinking,
Yeah.
then I promise you, what I said is totally true. I'm running and I'm doing, and I feel like it'll balance out. Because I feel like everybody gonna die anyway. So I'm trying to rationalize life and death in a way that it might not be healthy for me, but
Right.
the bottom line is how I see it. It could be your environment. I don't know how anybody's going through life.
That's
I'm gonna give it to you real because the bottom line, I don't know where you at.
Mhm.
Everybody don't have it like I might have it. Forget good or bad. Just understand we care enough that we want to bring it where you can understand it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna make it like everybody holier than thou because
Yeah.
everybody ain't accepting it.
And what I'm
They ain't
hearing-
accepting. I just
yeah,
want you to
and
know
what
how
I'm-
they live.
What I'm hearing you say, Jay, which is an outstanding point, is that it means something different to everyone. Okay?
Right.
And
Which is
it
true.
depends on how you grew up, you know, what your levels, your levels of standards are, of quality, of excellence in life, of you know, how you do life, what is right, what is wrong. And yeah, everybody's operating kind of on their own little wavelength in terms of what they want.
The
But,
only way
um,
you can deal with something
It's excellent
is
to acknowledge,
accepting.
to accept it and to acknowledge it. Yeah.
How
And
do
so,
you know you have an enemy
but watch
unless
this.
you accept that's your enemy?
There are a lot of people listening to this show who will, perhaps in the next 50 years, listen to this show, and they're going to completely identify with Jay's first response. Jay's first response was, yeah, I don't give a damn about none of that. I'm going to get mine, I'm going to handle mine, I'm going hard, and that's just how it's going to be, right? And so the point of the show, man, you know, we got to find some love here. We got to find some growth in our purpose here.
So that's what it's all about.
We got to find a way to help that person, that young man, that young woman to become accountable to those things. And so when you say you got to accept them, the person who hasn't accepted them is so far removed from being healed from them because they might not accept them till they're 35 or 40. And how do we get that message across? I don't have the answer, but I think it's a good question to ask at this point. You know, how do you build character in a man?
Go back with
You know,
that crap. Ask that question again.
I don't know. I can't remember. Again, the spirit's moving here. man.
You want to know how we can get there?
How we can get there? Yeah.
Okay. I just gave it to you because when I went and I ignored it, I went through my own hells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I went through enough stuff that I already know it wasn't for me.
Right.
But I wanted to know how to change it. No one showed me. So I'm trying to help people by listening to me. You don't have to act like you're perfect, and you damn sure don't have to lie. You can realize mistakes was made, and he still believes in you. We got to get away from, because of all what I did, he wouldn't listen to me. There's been a lot of lies told you all your life.
Yes, Jay.
And one of the biggest ones is believing what somebody else say, and he's still believing in you. Get back to you. Get back to listening to me. I'm giving you power. Your power is within you. To realize these things is plaguing you. And if you can get away from them and get back into you, which you really truly believe, I'm telling you, it can change you.
Yeah, and let me tell you what Jay just described. He described the pathway from not knowing to knowing, right? That there are a lot of people who will be potentially ruined by these 7 deadly sins, the first part of their life. And then they'll start to realize that, hey, these things are getting me in trouble. These things are causing me pain. They're causing me problems. They're making my time lag and me to not use my purpose and my efforts productively. And then all of a sudden they'll want change. And at that point, they'll be trying to figure out, hey, you know, what do I need to refrain from? How can I get some help with this? And, you know, I would, you know, certainly instruct anyone to turn to the Word because in the Word you'll find the answer, right? You'll just find the answer. And I don't want this to be a religious program, but we operate on the greatest truths in these discussions and what we know as the greatest truth. And I just don't know of any other greater truth. That Word will hold you accountable. And it'll hold you accountable before you get to 40 and you've made 15 of those mistakes, right? Those 15 mistakes can be 2 kids, you didn't get into the college you wanted, you know, so now you got to go to work and you spend the next 20 years taking care of your kids and you were supposed to be the greatest of great in your field of human endeavor. And it was in you all the while, but you got off the path and you got sucked into these things and stuff, right? You got sucked into these dark ruins, as the Lord would call them. we got to find a way to not get ourselves in trouble. We got to use wisdom over experience. Don't have to experience the trouble and the pain and the problems before you change your mind. Don't go to jail about something before you decide you're going to stop trying to steal or trying to hurt or trying to embezzle and all that other stuff. Change your mind first, man. Listen, there is nothing new under the sun, right? We have hundreds of thousands of years of human testimony of the right way to do things. And there is a very simple and structured path for life. It requires hard work. It requires loving oneself. It requires being laser focused and working toward your goals and dreams. It requires having a relationship with God. It requires family. It requires, days in the park and concerts. It requires struggle sometimes. It requires pain and thorns and tough times and being broke and being lonely. It requires that, right? I was listening to a sermon last night. It was T.D. Jakes was talking about better days are coming, and he kept speaking real loud and real powerful on the rain is coming, the rain is coming, the rain is coming. But he said the rain won't be nothing but wetness if you haven't already plowed the ground and planted the seed. He said the rain is surely coming. He said the word said the rain is coming, and I promise you that it's coming. That God said that. Right? But he said, but if you haven't tilled the ground and planted your seed, the rain will just be wetness. Right? But if you planted the ground, and that's why he said we gotta just keep going and keep grinding and keep moving and keep working, and that's a part of that pathway. It's a very simple path. There is no time for lax. There is no time for rest. There is no time for sitting down and trying to take the easy routes in life. The easy routes don't work. That's what this is saying. Being lazy doesn't work. Thinking too much of yourself doesn't work. Overeating, over-consuming doesn't work. Misusing your mind and your intentions to lust at other people and to lust at other things doesn't work. Envying other people doesn't work. Wrath, being angry and having hatred in your heart doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's what the Spirit is saying. That's what the Word has been saying. That's what we're all saying. And I'm not sure that we needed the Word of God to know that truth. I believe we know the truth instinctively. The question is there a reason to hold ourselves accountable for our behavior? And if you're doing something right now, you cheating and you stealing and you lying and you going against the curve right now, this may be a perfect opportunity to check yourself. Because the pathway you're going down leads to nowhere. It leads to nothing but trouble. We're telling you over and over and over again, it leads to nothing but trouble. The same energy you use to rob somebody, you can have the same energy to buy some stuff out the convenience store and go sell it down the street and make a profit.
That works.
It's the same. You can have the same energies going into each one of those exchanges, but we know this one gonna lead to trouble.
Yeah, but you
Why
have
not
to have
use-
the mindset though.
What do you
So
mean?
how you get that?
You have to have the mindset
Okay.
of working with these 7 deadly sins. So the 7 deadly sins won't work against you.
Ooh. Okay. You trying to
So-
say something there?
No,
Feel it out?
I ain't
But
saying
tell-
nothing.
but
I'm just saying.
what you saying, Buddha?
Yeah,
Alright.
what you saying, bro?
All right, okay, lust.
Right.
Let's look at lust.
We
Listen.
all that.
All right. So the biggest monopoly right now in regards to lust is sex, pornos. You can go on any site. You have operators that will talk dirty to you.
We get it, yeah.
All that.
All that.
Mhm.
But they making money off of it.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
what they did is took one of the 7 deadly sins,
Okay.
and not made it work against them, but made it work for them.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
And ooh, that's a good one, boy. I can't wait to attack that. Go ahead,
All right.
please.
All right. Look,
Please.
we have wrath.
Mhm.
United States of America, always getting his nose where it doesn't belong. However, everybody knows that it's money in wars. So they took wrath and made it work for them and not against them.
Okay. That's good too.
And let me ask you this.
So what they're doing is accepting the 7 deadly sins and making it work in their favor.
Okay, and y'all set this up for me, right? Y'all help me with this, right? I need a very brief and poignant answer right here, okay?
Okay.
Do you think that there's any price to pay for what they're doing?
Of course, it's death.
There is a price to pay.
But the thing is...
So they're not turning their good. then?
No, but the thing is, the people who are making these laws and making these wars, they're not sending their child over there. What they're doing is teaching their kids how to do the same thing. So their kids won't have to do it, and their kids benefit from it because it's greed. I just saying.
There's a price to pay for all of that, man.
You're going to pay the price anyway.
You can't.
The only thing that they did is said,
If
why pay for my sins right now? When I die, I'm going to pay for them anyway. So let me enjoy my life while I'm here.
Oh my God.
They
Are you
have
familiar with salvation?
Have said that,
Okay.
you know,
Listen.
I'm going to accept the 7 deadly sins. I know the price of sin is death. So while I'm here, let me and my family and my generation benefit from it. Because at the end of the day, when I die, I'm not here anymore. So who gives a... So I'm going to take the 7 deadly sins and let them work in my favor.
You better hope the world don't think like that.
No,
'Cause
The
it'll-
world does
it'll-
think like
it'll be
that.
straight chaos.
Well,
You think the world is in chaos right now?
No.
Why do you think we have all these mass shootings?
Why do you think-
Why do you think we have all these
Crap.
cops killing each other?
Yeah,
Crap, he brought a point that's disturbing, but it's just true. If you really think about it, when they do these mass wars, and remember the results of them is automatically death because they're of the 7 sins, right? And that's what comes from wars, death of other people's children. Other people's kids die in every war that we ever had. And a lot of times the ones that actually push the button to cause it ain't the ones that's dying. There's other innocent people that's dying behind decisions that was made in higher places.
You have to identify.
Let's see.
You
And that's
have to
really true.
identify
For a long time.
with what you are given.
Yeah. Well,
Because
here's what I want to say.
okay, go ahead.
In all of those situations, there's still a price to pay. If you start a war and all that stuff, there's still a price to pay.
It's
And,
not
and,
affecting
and
their families.
here's what's not being taken into account. And I think this is kind of what the word was attempting to say over and over again is that, let me give you the farmer example, simple farm example. Farmer plants a garden, and about midway, 3/4 of the way through, he's gonna walk through his garden, and anything that's weeds and anything that's not producing, that's already looking dead and dim, he's gonna pull it up, and he's gonna throw it away. He's gonna throw those weeds into the fiery furnace, right? See, I believe in life as a principle. Our lives are the same way. At the end of our life, we're going to be determined as whether we are good fruit or we are weeds. If we're weeds, we're not going any further. We will burn in the fiery furnace of hell forever. And so what we have to understand is that the consequences and repercussions aren't necessarily here in this world. They are maybe beyond.
That
Right?
is because-
That's what the whole message was about. It was saying that, hey, if you don't become a good person, that you know you're gonna have to suffer. And I don't know where the wisdom came from. It ain't my wisdom, but I'm leaning toward the one. I'm like, let me act right. Let me act right. And let me keep some of these sins from me. Let me salvage my spirit a little bit so I can move on to the greater world, the greater land. And if that potentially is not the truth and that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna die following it. It's just the way it's gonna work for me.
Yeah,
right?
but
I'm
is
going to
because-
heaven.
Because
That long walk, I don't care. I'm going
that is
back down there.
because that is what you have inherited. Nothing more, nothing less. Because your fathers and your fathers before your fathers have given you a Bible that was given to the slaves by the slave owners. So they're telling you this is your path to salvation when they are knowing that it's really not. That's what you've been inherited.
You turned a big corner on me.
No, I'm not turning the corner. So what the people who have the oppressors, what they have done is they've given you a Bible to keep you submissive. So when they give you a Bible to keep you submissive, that means you don't come outside of the box and think clearly, because the only thing that they're doing is putting you in a box, nothing more, nothing less. While you stay in this box, we are going to continue to oppress you. This is what you have inherited, because you have taken what your mother and father and what their mother and father has given to them, because they decided that at that point, because when they came along, you could work. You could be a plumber, you could be an electrician, you can be a carpenter, and you can make a living.
Right.
It was physical labor. But at the same token, you are working for yourself and working for your family. That's why they took all those trades out of the schools.
Hold on. You got about 5 different subjects going on.
No, it's the same subject.
No. Listen.
Hold on, one more time we got, because this right here gonna go all into
we
that.
out. We out. I'm glad you mentioned that, Jay.
We need to get, because I'm telling you, we gonna have to hit every last one of them, because y'all are stirring the pot.
Yeah,
okay,
there's something I really want to say behind
y'all gotta wake some folks up, because I'm telling you right now, y'all woke me up, because I was wondering why they took that out, because driver's ed and all that homemade. That's why I can't cook now. See, well, I did take home ec. I just didn't pay attention. But for all the other folks, we try and find out what's really going on. So tonight, please remember, one of the things we're trying to do is find out where you're at. I know a lot of times y'all feel like, well, he's here, he's there. We don't know where you at. But if you take what we're saying and understand, it is about you. It's a formula to enhance you. We're going to have our dialogue. When you turn this show off, we want you to have yours. And we will be right back.
Talk with Jay. Man, we are hitting on some heavy stuff here.
Sliding back
We're going down some avenues that I just didn't think we were going to hit.
Well, you know, one of the things about going down these avenues, man, I never know where somebody's at.
Good stuff. You never know where somebody's at. To include us.
You got to come off the path sometimes. Sometimes everybody want to stay on a clear path. Guess what? Most people are on a dark path. So let's get in the woods and find out where they at. You can't help what you can't find. If you ain't gonna recognize, you'll never change. So let's start understanding what we do. Figure out where you want to be, because if you don't know what you do, you'll never change. And my whole thing is, I don't know where you at. So I brought people together that care enough to be able to give you different scenarios, so we can understand what we do.
Right.
Understanding is the key word right now. I had to pray for it. So again, in my prayers, it's being answered by what we do. So go back to the things that you were saying again, Phil, for we can have a better identity for what's going on.
Okay, so the wrath was in regards to the wars that U.S. always gets involved in when it's none of their business. Okay, greed, we can take that to the financial industry. You have Wall Street. However, before you had Wall Street, you had Black Wall Street. So they destroyed Black Wall Street, so they can only have Wall Street. But see, the thing is, what we were doing at that point in time is we were figuring out how to operate within the system that didn't want us in the system. So what they did is everything that we started, they destroyed and then monopolized it or either capitalized on it. Black Panthers. That's why we have WIC. They killed off the Black Panthers. However, what the Black Panther was doing in the community was taking care of the kids, making sure that every kid ate before they went to school. So what they did was killed off Huey P. Newton, and then they said, "That's a good idea. Why don't we do it for everybody?"
So watch this.
So
So watch
that's why
this.
we have DFACS, and that's why we have WIC.
Yeah, and those are
And unfortunately, that's why we had the Bloods and Crips, because it's a branch off from the Black Panthers.
okay. That's good stuff. The question is, for every one of those organizations or entities, etc., that put us at a disadvantage, what price are they paying? What price will they pay? Death, right?
You're going to get death anyway.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said
So
that.
what
Because
they decided was, okay,
I'm glad you said that.
let's put them in a box. Let's keep them in a box. And while we keep them in the box, we have our heaven on earth, and we give them hell on earth. And the only thing that we have is what they gave us until you decide to break outside the box.
Okay, and I hear what you're saying, man. But at this point in the game, we know that we were victims, but we can't stand on that any longer, right? And there's got to be a mindset change. And so the mindset change for me
So if
is hold on. The mindset change for me is that God can turn any evil destruction against us into a blessing,
true,
right?
True.
And so that's why he's saying, hey, carry your thorns with you, carry your troubles, carry your struggles, because there is a promised land. And so, we are all in whatever ways we're taken advantage of. We're just gonna stand strong and until he comes, right? One of the interesting things about this conversation, I'm kind of dancing back and forth in my mind.
Okay.
And when I say that, it's because in Ecclesiastes, and we may need to spend more time there, he talks about that death is inevitable. The wise man and the fool end up in the same place. The rich man and the poor man end up in the same place.
Right.
so
Those who tried real hard and those who didn't try hard at all end up in the same place. But it never said that they were once they end up in death, what happens to them after that? I got to continue to focus this conversation on accountability for the 7 deadly sins, right?
and being accountable for the 7 deadly sins is being accountable for yourself.
Okay, yeah.
So
I
if you're
continue to say
accountable
that.
for yourself, you have to you have to stop acting like a horse.
Civilized. You got to be
No,
civilized, right?
no. You have to stop acting like a horse. And what I mean by that is you can't walk through life with blinders on. Because when you have a horse and he's pulling a carriage, you see he has blinders on. So the only way that he sees is straight. He has no peripheral vision. So if you take the indoctrine of what the oppressors have given us, and that's what you live by, you have blinders on. You're not taking the blinders off. You have to be able to see the world for what it is. And as long as you use the instruments of the oppressors, you'll never be able to see what the world for what it is.
See, man, I tell you, it's
Now,
difficult for.
and
Let
this
me
is why,
respond to that. Please let me respond to that.
and
Please.
don't discredit or mischaracterize what I'm saying, because I don't have a problem with the Bible. I read the Bible. I read the Quran, and I take them for what they are. Nothing more, nothing less, but lessons.
Okay, so lessons. I think he was talking about being disadvantaged,
Correct.
right? And see, my mentality is I don't. When I say all my questions are answered, you hear me say that a lot.
You said a lot.
That I don't really think about all that stuff, man. I don't really consider it. I don't really acknowledge it. I'm living just like God's people in Egypt. And I am
No.
not bound
No.
by Pharaoh.
No.
I am not bound
No.
by his needs
Yes,
and his
you are.
desires. No, if
Yes,
you understand,
yes, you
if you're arguing against the story of God now, and
No.
what he said was
No, I'm not.
that his people still prospered in the midst of God sending a plague over the land.
Let me ask
You
you a
see,
question.
that's why I'm saying, I'm like, okay, I'm not worried about all that stuff. I'm just staying focused on me.
We
You
got
know what I
you.
mean?
What you got, Phil?
Let me ask you a question. Okay, we have 7 deadly sins, right? We have 7 chakras, right? We have 7 archangels. You have to understand what the story is. You have to accept the story for what it is. A story. They're letters. The Bible is nothing but letters to one person to another person. That's it. It's letters. This is what happened on my way here. This is what I noticed on my way here. Jesus is nothing but a prophet. Nothing but a prophet. God can operate on his own. He doesn't need a son to operate.
I think you need to be careful, my friend.
No, I know exactly what I'm talking about because I know who God is and I know who he isn't.
Okay. As
Because
long as that works for you, man.
your son cannot be your father. Some roles aren't interchangeable. Period.
You need to understand the translation. You're really off on some subjects that you're not fully aware of. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm fully aware.
Correct. I don't want you to be there, but
You're talking about things
but
that.
when we go there, what I like to go back to is because this is one of the things that has been argued about religion for a very long time. And again, what Phil has said has been an argument of time that people do not address. And again, he said Jesus was just a prophet because God holds his own. Clarify exactly, Phil, why you said that. Because again, I'd rather him clarify it. Because again, one of the things about it, he read the different scriptures. And he's going to give you again, this is him. I am not changing anybody's perspective of what they believe. That's not ever going to be me. I want everybody to be spiritual and real. But it still starts with inside of you, okay? But I will tell you, a lot of things been taught to us has not been true to us. So if we figure out where we want to be, that's totally up to you. But I want to hear everybody's argument and then let it rest because it's still going to be up to you. So Phil, because I don't know where nobody's at.
So we're coming up on one of the worldly holidays. And one of the worldly holidays is Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Valentine's Day, and we also have Black History Month in the same month. So that's just a coincidence that St. Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day, is the same month of Black History. Which, if you do your history and you read, you know that St. Valentine was one of the bloodiest massacres of Christianity history.
Right.
And it's ironic that it's Black History Month as well. Slavery.
These are facts. Keep going.
I'm just saying.
Well,
Read.
I would tell you all that
Knowledge is power.
when it came to Valentine's Day, I didn't even understand. I know the Cupid's arrow, and again, not being naive, I'm just being honest. It became a situation of love, you know. So I knew about the flowers, the candy, and then it was given to me about Saint Valentine, the person that was beheaded. So now you're starting to hear about where it really came from and then how it got changed. So again, I like to say you have to know some of your history or you're going to be blinded. And that is what Phil is saying. Don't be a horse with blinders on. Going through life just believing that everything is Easter bunnies, Saint Nick, Santa Claus, and all this other stuff, Halloween. A lot of these things are fairy tales. But going back to the story, I want you to understand the stories that was written to help you, not destroy you. Because I like to say they commercialize on a lot of different things, and that's for profit.
Right.
Okay, I want to make
that's
sure.
greed.
Right,
Oh, okay.
Profit, greed. I want to get back to self-helping. One of the things that Kraft is trying to tell you, and I totally understand what Kraft is because again, he ain't looking at where they are at. It's where his God put him at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mental stableness. And that is to balance past all that. And if you can't balance, I promise you, it will sink you. If you ever look at a big old ship with all that cargo that makes it through, they purposely calculate to understand what it can do. We don't even understand us. We've been through a lot, but you don't always know. You have to be knowledgeable about all what goes on and understanding what he has for you. And that's when he talks to you. And that might not be what's written. It can go against all that you know. But if he's guiding you, listen to him. But a lot of times we want to listen to what we heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always been proven. I can tell you, he will prove all things while you still trying to master your thing.
Yeah.
He mastered this.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about you, Greg. One thing about what he do, he will lay a path
Yeah.
and all will fall.
Yes.
And you will rise.
Woo!
Please be in
See-
that positioning. That's
See,
all I
that's
say.
it. He'll make the crooked places straight. And I depend on that. So whatever happened in the past, however those, it was about a mass murder. If I were thinking like a God, I would say one of the best ways to cover up all of this pain and hurt is to fill it with love for the rest of eternity. That would be a great way to try to overcome it in a spiritual way. So we don't know what God works, but we do know that what has been set up, the traps and darkness that has been set up for us, he'll put a bridge over troubled waters. And I'm not concerned about it. There was a guy tried to talk me out of celebrating Thanksgiving. And he said, he told me the story. He said, what happened was the pilgrims were planning this big Thanksgiving, and then some people came in and massacred them and took the land, and that's how Thanksgiving got started. And he said, so I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. I said, well, man, I said, please don't go around turning people against Thanksgiving, okay? Because we done changed the meaning of Thanksgiving, right? And because I can forget some of my history, I can become renewed in the spirit. And by doing so, I can celebrate a day that might have meant for darkness, but we're going to bring celebration to it. We're going to bring glory to it. We're going to bring light to it. We're going to bring some healthiness to it in this day. Okay, regardless of what happened whenever in the past, I'm going to bring some love to it. So I'm not bound. The past does not set precedent. And there are a lot of things over our shoulders that held us back and pulled on us and all. But I'm just. That's why I say all my questions are answered because I don't look over my shoulder and try to figure out what happened. I just say, you know what, God sure made a great way. Let's go ahead and take this love and this power and this grace and this mercy and drive forward into the future. So this whole discussion is around. Things that we shouldn't do.
Right. And one of the things I'm going to tell you, when you say that, and you're profound, I promise you, right there. And now look at it. And again, the only thing I can tell you is, I ain't never have to forget. Once I found out the truth, it's not about forgetting no more.
Exactly.
It's about changing.
About a change.
I
baby.
don't have to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's one of the things I'm giving you power and understanding you. We've been lied to. You can't change a lot of things that's been taught to you.
Yeah.
But you can understand and you can make change in what you do. So you give me a holiday like Thanksgiving and I understand where it came from. I make it about my family. Something that is relevant to me. For I can control what I can control compared to what I couldn't. I can't change the past, but I can help dictate my future.
Yeah.
So again, grow with some things. Valentine's Day, it was a bloody massacre. But again, I don't use that day to show love, period. I look at my Cash App and I've been sending money way before that day. So when you call me on that day, I'm going to show you a screenshot of what I did for you.
Then, yeah.
Same thing with Christmas and other days. You don't have to use the commercial days to do anything. But please understand, just only you changing your way. It's up to you. Like one of the things I do in my business, and what I do is they got Christopher Columbus Day. Okay?
Okay.
I'm not celebrating that day at my job with my people, knowing there's real. I'm sorry. And if you have a problem with that, you might not want to come work for me. Because I work all the time. And I ain't got to take from nobody to tell you the reality of today. But what I can tell you is, I'm not going to worship something that I don't understand. And I'm not going to give power to. But I will give power to you. You can take that day and do whatever you want. But please use it in a proper way than what somebody else told me.
Yeah.
I change as I go, but I ain't forgotten nothing.
There you go.
That's all I'm asking.
There you go. And y'all stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay right after this.
Man, we about to blow y'all mind with this right here. We're about to have some problems tonight.
It's fired up in here a little
We're
bit.
gonna fire it all the way on up because see, me and Phil is at this point where I told you he was on that bus. But we're about to break the bus all the way down because a lot of people are gonna have problems tonight about all the things that's going on. And again, I want to make sure y'all have your own formula. Tonight is not about us. It's about where you are at. And I want to make sure you reflect this to a point where you gravitate to seven sense to identify, to understand what might be going on, but you can make the best change in you.
Right.
That's number one.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, that's not the close. That is the understanding of the show. Now, what I'm going to go back is I have a problem right now with Phil. We have to be vigilant. Phil,
Yes, sir.
vigilant on this.
I'm with you.
Because again, when it comes to the belief, and you were saying, hey, if you believe, then that's why you do, right? And I told you that there's some people that don't always believe; they just follow. And you said no, that's because you believe. One of the arguments I had with you is no, I can follow with no belief, because I just know that hey, that's what you do, and that's what I just follow. Because when I truly believe, I won't follow you. Because truthfully, there's been times I followed a lead position, and that was my job to follow that person, and I didn't like where we was going. So when I started believing in myself, and I said, you know, hey, you seem like we ain't going nowhere, I'm not going no further, okay? Now at this point, I believe in more so in me than what you're telling me. You keep telling me where I need to go, and it don't seem to lead me nowhere. I am now taking control of my own destiny, and you saying, no, you are still believing. And I'm telling you, when you believe in self, you control.
Exactly.
They don't want you to control all and be all, because everyone has value and self-power.
Yeah, because
But if
they
I
want-
can just get you to follow me and not believe in self, then that could be something that could be happening. But the bottom line is, don't say, then you just believe. I just didn't understand.
Yeah, they still want you to make 15 cents while they pulling 85.
And as they do, and they want you to continue to do,
Mhm.
but that don't have to. My whole thing is, you gotta recognize it's a formula. But don't just sit there and go to somebody and complain. You hear this and you feel like you knowledgeable and you think you can change things. My whole thing is belief means that I know my work ethics and I know my work.
Say it again.
My work ethics and I know my work. Let me give you an idea. My work ethics and my work is totally different, but listen to me. I went to a job and they offered me way lower than I used to make. Now, they didn't tell me how much, because the man was like, yo, I want you to go through this little training course. and when you get done, I'm gonna get these numbers together because we normally start off here. And I was like, oh no, that's totally unacceptable. He said, but I'm gonna get you something. I got you. Just go through this training course, and I got. So I went through this 4-day training course, and a lady came to me and she handed me a piece of paper telling me what my salary was, and I said, that's what he said I'm gonna be making right here. And she said, yes. I said, okay. And she said, is there a problem? I said, I get with him. She said, if it's a problem, I said, if it is, I get with him. And she said, do I need to tell him something? I said, see me on Friday. It was Thursday. He need to see me on Friday. Okay? So she went back and she told him. So when I came to work on Friday, my man was like, yo, you gonna go out and you gonna, I said, no, I'm not going out anywhere. But what I'm gonna do is go up there because I was at a different division at that time. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna get with him. But I enjoy working here with you. And he said, so you quit? And I said, well, truthfully, I was never hired. Okay? So when I left there, I went up to the other office, and this guy, his name was Tony, and Tony was like, oh, Jerry, is there a problem? I said, there ain't a problem. Because again, if this is what you feel I'm worth, I can at least give you an evaluation of the 4 days that I was here with you. And this is what I felt that your organization might want to look at to grow. That's the least I can do for you for the 4 days you paid me, because what you offered me, I can't do. And he said, what if I can offer you more? Then don't insult me by what you offered. So at this point, I'm just going to leave it be by giving you an evaluation of what I seen. Okay? And it might be me being bold, but I'm going to tell you, it's also a respect level. I respected you, and you said you can do better, and you didn't show me better. And I can show you how I can lead. You have to know your value. And I didn't have another place to go to. But I'm not going to be getting backwards to try to go forward when I already know my work.
Absolutely.
I worked too hard to do this, and he knew it. Now, how I knew it, it wasn't a year later, he left too. But he said that's the best he can offer, and it's never people's best. It's what they can offer. Know you. And I ain't saying discount yourself. Please be knowledgeable about yourself. Because again, I've never showed less. But they showed me what they was willing to do. And I already done.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful example of where we sin, where we're quote unquote off the mark, in sloth, right? Laziness. We can already see we're worth more. We can already see we should be achieving more. We can already see we should be the manager. We can already sometimes see we should own this company or own a company like it. But we lounge on our laurels. And we sit back on our heels and we never take charge of our own destiny. And if you would have accepted that offer, here's what would ultimately be happening. He would be tearing away a sense of himself by accepting that lesser than offer that he got. He would have been accepting that he is less than what he really is. And it takes a big person. It takes, I say kind of a faith-filled person, or a person who has a real powerful willingness to not be taken advantage of. It takes a real strong person to leave a job knowing they ain't got a job. Right? I mean, you got to stand for something to be able to do that. Because ultimately, what would happen, and we've seen it happen all too many times in our lives, he would have took that job. I'm just going to take it until I find something else. Get sucked in. Next thing you know, it's 3 years, 5 years later, 10 years later. And he gave in, right? He gave in to maybe their greed.
Let me tell you about one thing that I did do, and I'll tell you all day long. One of the reasons I did, I love what I did.
Right.
Okay?
Right. And it shows.
I wasn't just a manager. I led.
Yeah.
I led people. I believe in people. So I wanted to find out how you can be the best you. And when you got that behind you and you're doing things, because I promise you right now, a manager just manage. Okay? That's called a process. And that's what a manager and a supervisor will ever do. That's all that ever. But when I look at a person and I evaluate you and I see you and I understand your capabilities and I put you in a better position, now I'm leading people to be stronger. I want you to do more. And you do more, I succeed because, again, I make my profits and my bonus and my numbers.
Right.
But I have to believe in you and you have to believe in me. But most people just believe in a process.
Right.
And that's all corporate America is about, is process. And I'm a believing about a people that want more and they don't know how to get it. And our job is to show you the best you. That's you. That's a growth in you. And you ain't paying me less for that. You gonna give me a processing number when I don't just process. That's you. That is what you, because that's what you feel. You ain't gonna make me feel. When I interview and I talk to you and I told you that ain't acceptable is what you say. And you tell me you can do more and you don't show me more.
Yeah.
It lets me know that at that point,
That's
if you did
That's good.
give me more, I don't believe in you.
Yeah.
You cheated me from the beginning. So how would I ever believe in you in the end? I'm doing something for your business that your behind can't do. I ain't even asked for your job, but I do your job. I've been doing your job. I didn't want your job. I want to be in a position where I can aid. And you didn't even understand what you had, because no one understands a person. All they understand is a word.
Yeah, it is a sin.
Change people.
It is a
Change
sin
yourself.
to know that you deserve more and not go get it. That is a part of the 7 deadly sins. And I think Jay's story and example, personified, again, sloth and giving in to other people's greed. We can't allow ourselves to do it. One of the 7 deadly sins that we've not talked actually about 3 of them. We spent some time on gluttony. We know what gluttony is. But 2 of the ones that I really wanted to spend, we got about 10 minutes, 12 minutes before we go, before we get out of here. One I think is absolutely deadly to the spirit, and that is the spirit of wrath. Now, Buddha talked about it earlier, kind of at 50,000 feet, 40,000 feet, right? Where he's talking about war, and he's talking about big, the big expression of chaos and death and killing, etc. But down in our own spirits, wrath would equal hatred and anger. And
I bust the windows out your car.
yeah, nobody has ever
You suffering
really
my wrath.
taught us how to manage those emotions. They're very real emotions, and sometimes there are certain things that trigger us and turn us, kind of put us on fire, make us so mad and so angry that we can't even see straight. And all of that hatred or that anger that we're harboring, again, it doesn't hurt the person who we're angry at. It hurts us. And, again, I wish God could just lay out for us, what it really does to the spirit. And he probably does in the Word. I should go and look for that. But the feelings of hatred and anger run rampant in our world.
Can I tell you what I feel about that real quick? Because I'm not going to lie to you. Most of the time, hatred comes from love. Most of the time when I hate something, is because I totally poured into where I love something.
Okay?
If you are to take my child, my rage is because I love my child. I don't really hate you, but I love my child. So I feel like I have to hurt you. Because my rage is for the love that I have. Just like if something was to happen to you, I will have a rage for anything that happened to you. If it was purposely done or not. If it was not, I might not show my rage,
Yeah.
but my love for you will show you like they show Kobe's love, as his work ethics. My whole thing is your impact is how you live your life, is how I'm going to react.
Yeah.
Now that right there
Let's
is
bring it home.
one thing that people don't really recognize.
Yeah, let's bring it home. Let's try to bring it a little more closer to the heart and mind of mankind's reality. There are, we always talk about the 50% divorce rate, right? And there's a lot of people in relationships and in marriages who aren't happy, right? Before you ever get to a marriage or you ever get to an engagement, there are a lot of relationships that come together and they break up. They come together and they break up. Most of our lives we've experienced all this breakup. And there's the tendency to have a lot of hatred and a lot of anger right in the forefront of your spirit. And it may come out at other people. Sometimes it may come out at ourselves. But to hold on to those emotions will ultimately pull you off the path. It pulls you off the path of righteousness. It pulls you off of your own path and your own purpose. It destroys that it's poison in your own spirit.
But you're not dealing with it.
Well, that's what we need to talk
And that's
about.
one of the things that I can tell you that I've been through time and time again. When you don't deal with it, you will lash out. I'm going to give you more because I didn't deal with the other person that gave me my hell. But you giving me something close to what I had, or you going to get it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a buildup.
That's a buildup.
That's, again, a psychological situation that you need to contain early on.
Right.
You ain't had nobody to diffuse you. You didn't know this, but you held on to it. That's why people die with aneurysms. People die with high blood pressures. We have anxieties that we don't deal with. We don't see. We just deal with. They put pressure on you at your job. They got rid of all these divisions, and you got all this, and we gave you a little raise because we don't want you to leave, because we want you to do it all, and you're going to sit there, and you're going to try to figure it out, and that's the whole plan. The more you figure out, the more you stress, the more you go to your salary. So it's 24/7. You are killing yourself because you don't understand yourself. Sometimes you push away. I can't do it. You scared to say it because you're going to end up dying. Because you don't understand the 7. When you understand the 7 sins, you understand you are giving in to gluttony now. I am giving in to more than what I need to give into. I'm taking away from my family. I can't go home. I'm staying at the office. And then you wonder why you stress and you lose everything. It's because, again, you think you Job. You ain't Job. You ain't just praising him. You're praising yourself. You want more, and you won't even understand what you want. I'm trying to get you back because I was there. I was there thinking I was holier than thou, bigger than that. I made all this money, and then I end up losing my wife.
Pride.
My pride tore my ass down, thinking that that's the best way.
That's not.
It ain't the best, because when it tears down, I lost children
Right.
along the way.
Yes.
And then I lost ego because I had an ego
Pride.
that helped destroy, because I thought my ego was bigger than me.
Pride and ego
I didn't control.
destroys family.
So when you get back to the 7, if I would have recognized early, I could have saved what I had.
Yeah, and we've got about 3 minutes here. An excellent way to close out our show. The key here, folks, is to recognize where your shortfall is. You know, what keeps getting you in trouble? What's gotten your brothers and sisters or your friends who you hang out with? What's getting them in trouble? Right? That's what we need to begin to refrain from. And, you know, self-discipline. I just released a quote this past week, a few weeks ago. Self-discipline is the beginning of character. You know, the discipline of desire is the beginning of character. And we really need to take a look at what kind of character we're building, right? Because every one of these decisions to operate in greed or lust or gluttony or pride or sloth or envy is a stamp on our character. And don't think that you're invisible. Everybody can see it. Everybody can meet with you, and if you met with 10 people and you walked away from that, you know, that 15-minute meeting with 10 people, they would all probably be seeing the same thing in you. That you kind of sleight of hand, you're a fast talker, you don't, you know, I can hear a number of projects you said, and I ain't never hear about the follow through. I hear about the great, you know, the great effort, and you know, I can hear that, you know, you're a little lazy. You know, I can hear that maybe you're a little greedy, maybe you're a little envious. You know, we got to find a way to just understand what is happening. You know, as you look at life, here's where I am, and here's what it takes to be successful. Maybe say, here's where I am, and here's what it takes to be perfect. I'll never reach perfection, but let me head that direction. Let me head that direction. Let me see if I can discipline myself so that I can take advantage of being righteous. Because that's what every one of these discussions are about. Excessive behavior that lead to unrighteousness. And, you know, righteous is a big word, but, you know, we all understand the difference between right and wrong. And if you are, you know, if you're undressing women, if you undressing your boy's wife standing next to him, you are absolutely wrong. And you are absolutely going to have to pay for those thoughts. You are always held accountable for your thoughts. And that's what the Lord has been trying to tell us over and over. But don't let it take, you know, a bad situation. Or don't run into karma before you realize it. You did it for years to your brother's wife, and all of a sudden you married, and your cousin do it to you. Right? And now you realize that, damn, I remember I was looking at my boy's wife. See, don't let karma come upon you, because again, you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword, and that's just the way our world works. You know, so practice righteousness and practice love, self-respect, practice discipline, practice reserving yourself a little bit from anything in life. Anything that has too much excess is bad for you, period. And that could be a great, if everybody would just at least understand that, that means we could bring everybody back to the mean population, right? But everybody's not understanding that. That's why many people are bouncing off the walls. We're held accountable for our thoughts. Righteous thoughts produce a righteous life. Any comments, though?
Phil, what you got?
Just a quote.
What you got?
It's real simple. Experience is a teacher. Pain is a tutor. Mistakes are instructions. Out of every negative thing, there are opportunities to develop positivity.
Yes. And that's a great way to close out our show here tonight, folks. Outstanding, Phil. I appreciate that. Folks, this has been Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Cravmatic. This is my boy,
Jay.
Smooth Jay. We got
Buddha.
Dr. Phil in the house. And this has just been our opportunity to shed some light on life, inspire you through dialogue. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We certainly have enjoyed being here tonight. You know, this is our purpose. You know, we don't get paid for this. We just come here to try to deliver some powerful information to help the spirits of mankind.
Hold on,
we're grateful for you being here with us.
Back up. We don't get paid for it. One of the things I want to say, yes, we do. Please, I gotta correct my brother. We get paid for this. We work for the Lord. Don't ever think we don't get paid.
Okay.
That's the
Like
problem
that.
with people wanting
Yeah.
to be bosses today.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see the capital. Please believe if you can help a soul and they can help themselves, you are getting paid. Slaving is believing what is not real. You are hurting, not helping.
Yes.
So please believe we are getting paid.
We are getting paid.
Listen.
Okay, I stand corrected
Because I
and
promise
convicted. I appreciate you.
We got this.
Woo! Because there's so much great things come out of doing this work for me. I'm sure my life is getting all kinds of blessings because I just come here and want to serve the world. So, Bar Talk with Jay Thursdays, Facebook Live 7 to 9. Y'all continue to join us. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. And we are out.
Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.